Well, good day to you. It is January the 18th. I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Gary Willing, and I want to welcome you to Search for Signs if you're new, and if you've been here before, and especially if you listened to the last video I put up just about a half hour ago, kudos to you and welcome back. But if you want to know more about Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom after listening to these videos, if you want to educate yourself better about it, look in the description portion of these videos. There's a lot of links in there that take you to websites that give you background information about this. So that's why I put them in there, so you can at least try for yourself to see if there's any truth to it. You don't have to take my word for it. Want to join the discussion? You're welcome to do that too. Post your comments. Post your question in the comments section. Email me at searchforsigns@mail.com. You can even reach out to me through Facebook. You can stick your head out the window of your house and scream really loudly. Maybe that will get your comment or your question to me. Whatever suits for you. But I do welcome comments and questions that way. So I try to address comments that come my way that pertain to what we talk about, that we might all learn something about, like I'm about to do in just a minute, to I always try to answer questions that come my way in the next video. So if you ask a question, listen to the next video, you more than likely will get an answer coming from me some kind of way. Now, I can't really thank anybody, like I like to do, for posting comments since the last time I put a video up, because it's really been about a half hour or 40 minutes since I put the last video up. So nobody has commented as of the recording of this video, but I'm sure people will start to comment on it. Now, I do want to address a comment coming from a gentleman named Zach Laney that was not since the last time I put a video up, but it was a couple videos ago. And he's talking about politics and corruption in politics. And I just want to kind of set this up before I read it, and then I want to talk about it, and then I want to also read an article coming from Benjamin Creme's Master's article about the political systems in the New Age. Is the title of it. Maybe we can learn more about politics in this way, because right now everything is just so tribal. You know, I don't think people really understand what politics is. I don't think they understand that both sides are corrupt. You know what I'm saying? So this is my team is great, and if they're corrupt, they're doing it because of me, so I'm cool with it, you know, that kind of thing. And we're all kind of guilty of tribalism to some degree, but it's creating a division, especially in the United States, that's just, it's becoming quite dangerous. And perhaps by reading aloud this master's article, it might give us a better sense of what really is going on with the political systems, what it might look like in the future, you know, that kind of thing. So that's why it's entitled Political Forms in the New Age is the title of the actual article. But the reason why he was commenting about politics, it was something that I said about the return of Maitreya. Now, Maitreya and these masters were expecting to come back into the world after living away from humanity for over 100,000 years. Knowing that humanity has forgotten all about them for the most part, the information about the masters was just starting to come out, and they knew that they were thinking it was going to take another 1,000 years or so before humanity would be ready for the masters to come out, to be ready to really receive what they had to say and learn from it and those kind of things. What changed was humanity created the atomic bomb, and also the Axis powers were defeated. Not destroyed, but defeated, which is really, they were representing the forces of evil on this planet, so it was like the forces of evil were defeated to some degree, but not destroyed. And so it was like humanity made a huge step forward into change. Now, because of the danger of destroying ourselves, really, Maitreya had to make an announcement that he would have to come back far sooner than they were even expecting. He made this announcement in 1945, and actually June of 1945, through the disciple Alice Bailey, that he would have to come back. But it was conditional. Humanity had to make some steps, you know, toward him, in that he couldn't just come into our life in this way. So the three steps were, the first one was the principle of sharing had to at least start to govern the minds of the world leaders of the time. And I talk about the Marshall Plan in reference to the principle of sharing and how it is very similar to what the principle of sharing is. The United States gave excesses of their resources to Western Europe to rebuild Western Europe. They gave it to them freely. There was no conditions to it. They gave it to them. Now, once Western Europe started to rebuild their infrastructures, their society, stabilize their governments and those kind of things, they gave back in payment excesses that they had to pay it back to the United States. That's the principle of sharing in kind of a beta form. And it unfortunately only lasted for about 4 years. and it was only amongst a certain number of nations. And there's a link in the description that talks a little bit more about the Marshall Plan, but more from a historical standpoint, not from this standpoint of it actually bringing about the principle of sharing. Now, the other step that humanity had to do to show Maitreya that we were ready for him to come back into the world was a measure of peace had to have been established. Well, the Marshall Plan did just that. It created a little bit of peace, just enough. It wasn't perfect and it wasn't global, but it created enough peace. And it was amongst some very influential and powerful nations like the United States, England, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, those kind of countries, who had once been at war with one another. And since then, because of the Marshall Plan, it created trust amongst those nations, and none of those nations have attacked one another since. So it did bring about just enough peace for Maitreya to go, okay, humanity's ready for peace. And then this is where the comment comes in. The last thing was that the political parties had to start cleaning up some of their corruption and that kind of thing. And I always say, well, I guess if you saw it, you saw it, Maitreya. I don't see it like that. I don't see any movement in this direction in terms of cleaning up your house, but apparently they did. Apparently it was enough for Maitreya to say, okay, they've achieved all three of those steps. I'm going to come back in the world. And that's what he did. And July 19th, 1977, he eventually slipped into London. Since then, he had been kind of building the climate of expectancy and hope for his eventual going out in the public and that kind of thing. And then in January of 2010, Benjamin Creme made the announcement that Maitreya had given his first interview on TV. And now the box is open, and he can't get put back in that box. He's out in the world, not claiming to be Maitreya, of course, but he's speaking to humanity more and more and more, directing humanity in that way, teaching humanity in that way, and it will continue on into the future and those kind of things. But what did Zach Laney have to say about politics that got me thinking about putting up another video? Political parties have been going through cleanup for years. You'll never know it because the media doesn't report it. Corporate news is controlled and directed via the intelligence agencies like the CIA and FBI, which in turn has been protecting government for decades. It's an arm of the government, and do you think that they would want to show the public all the details of their dirty laundry? FBI has been working with tech companies for years to censor and pick and choose what is trending. This is one of the Twitter files that came out. Okay, well, I'm not going to talk about the tech relationships with the intelligence agencies and these kind of things. I just want to kind of focus more on the corruption aspect of the political parties. Now, just as a disclaimer, just so we're all on the same page, I tend to vote Democrat for the most part, only because I see them as just a little bit more progressive. I only have two real choices to choose from, right? The Republicans or the Democrats. The Democrats seem like they're more in line with trying to get a little bit done. I'm not saying they're not corrupt just like the Republicans, but the Republicans are corrupt just like the Democrats, but they're talking about keeping everything the same. And I know it can't be like that. We got to keep moving. We got to keep doing, things like saving the environment and bringing about justice and those kind of things. I don't think either party has it right, but they're a little bit closer. I'm talking about a fraction of a cent closer. So it's like, it is what it is, Now, the other thing is, and this is what I want to read this article about the political forms in the New Age, because he talks about the three ideologies. Benjamin Crime's master talks about the three ideologies: democracy, communism, and fascism. And if you've been following American politics for the last, 3 or 4 or 5 years, these terms have been thrown from both sides, have either been accused to be fascist, communist, standing for democracy. You can't be both standing for democracy if the other side's a fascist and that side, saying. So I think it's gotten to the point now where it's so muddy that we really can't know the truth about what are they talking about, because I don't even think they know what they're talking about. Is Donald Trump a fascist? I think he is. Is Biden a communist? No, I do not. You know what I'm saying? Are they both standing for democracy? I don't know at this point, because we're getting to the point now where it's like, I don't know, but what is democracy? Where does it come from? What is fascism? Where does it come from? What is communism? Where does it come from? This master is going to shed some light on this by reading, I'm going to read it to you. Like I always like to say, it's better to to read these articles for yourself. You can find them on the Share International site, or you can get the book of Master Speaks. Link is in the description for that. But, hopefully by seeing, by reading or hearing, in this case, the different political systems, what they mean, are they divine or are they evil, that kind of stuff coming from one of these masters, it might shed a little light on it. So when you hear terms like Biden's a communist or Trump is a fascist, it might make it a little easier to understand if they're telling you the truth or not, I guess. I don't know, maybe not. So this is coming from Benjamin Creme's master. Present-day political structures are of three main types, reflecting, however imperfectly, three separate aspects of the divine intention. To these three forms we give the names of democracy, communism, and fascism. However distortedly, each embodies a divine idea. However corruptly, each is the expression of a divine energy, and each is related to a major planetary center. That which we call democracy is a reflection, albeit inadequate today, of the love nature of God, exemplified by the spiritual hierarchy, the center where the love of God is expressed. That to which we give the name of communism is an expression as yet imperfect of the intelligence of God, centered in humanity itself, while fascism today, in a totally distorted manner, reflects the energy of will from Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known. Each of these three forms of organization and relationship is in a state of transition, more or less, and in their gradual transformation into a fuller expression of the divine idea. Behind them lies the hope of future peaceful cooperation. Each of these forms today is characterized by a spirit of intense rivalry and exclusiveness. The followers of each are convinced that they alone have the answer to man's needs for structure and organization, and are ready, if need be, to plunge the world into catastrophic war to uphold their particular system. What of the future? How can we ensure that these apparently disparate and opposing modes of political thought do not overwhelm humanity? Very little foresight is needed to see that without a change of direction, mankind faces terrible dangers. There is no need to elaborate. The nuclear threat is clear to all. An immediate first step is the realization that humanity is one. Its needs are the same everywhere, however varied and apparently conflicting the outer forms. The enormous discrepancies in living standards between the rich and the poor countries make mockery of the essential oneness and have within them the seeds of war. The answer, therefore, is simple. The implementation of the principle of sharing provides a solution to the divisions in our planetary life. Nothing less will do. Sharing is divine, part of God's plan for His children, and must one day become manifest. And when men share, the divisions will grow together. The separateness will be healed, and through the three major political structures, the love, the will, and the intelligence of God will find a truer reflection. A true democracy in which all men participate will take the place of the present sham. A new spirit of freedom will invest the communist ideal with warmth and love. A truly spiritual hierarchy embodied the beneficent will of God will one day replace the present authoritarian regimes. Thus will it be. Thus will the outer forms reflect the inner divine life and purpose, and so present to men new modes of expression and relationship through their growing sense of the nature of God can be realized. All awaits the acceptance of sharing, the key to justice and peace. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.